Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the 223rd meeting of Samsung Bangalore Toastmasters Club. Toastmasters was started in 1924 for everyone, for the general public to work on their communication and leadership skills. In April 2017, Samsung Bangalore's Toastmaster Club became a part of this organization. And since then, we have helped many members to work on their communication and their public speaking skills. Before we start today's session, I'll be setting down some guidelines. First one, I ask all the speakers to refrain from speaking on the taboo topics, which are sex, religion, and politics. And I request all the audience to keep their camera on and be very generous with your applause. This will definitely motivate all the speakers who will be speaking today. Lastly, I'll also be posting an attendance form in the chat. Samsung employees will get learning hours for attending the Toastmasters session. With that being said, let us begin today's meeting. In these uncertain times, it is very essential to work on keeping ourselves calm and to find techniques in which we can relax effectively. Today, we have Toastmaster Shama, who will be sharing how we can do this through the techniques of meditation and rejuvenation. So with a huge round of applause, please welcome on stage today's Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Shama.
Thanks, Arun. Thanks for inviting me, and I welcome everyone to this Toastmaster session. As Arun rightly mentioned, that we are all in uncertain times, and it is very important to keep calm ourselves, especially in this time. Keeping calm is an art, and who can keep himself or herself calm is an artist in itself. You don't have to get a tag of artist, but you are an artist. And to do this, we have a technique called meditation. And trust me, from my own personal experience, I can tell that it is no less than rejuvenation. You can rejuvenate yourself. I would like to quickly tell you yesterday what has happened with me. There was a meditation session in the terrace of my apartment. I just went casually. I was like, okay, if it is not good, I'll come back saying that it's a meeting for me because it's office day. But trust me, the meditation session was so good that I was completely immersed in it. And I have paused my work and went to the terrace for a few minutes, like 10 to 15 minutes. That work was in my mind, back of my mind. And I was like, no, nothing will gonna happen with meditation. I'll be still thinking of my work. But no, it was a completely different experience. I was relaxed and I felt so rejuvenated. I would like to request every one of you to practice it, not for 30 minutes, not for 40 minutes, but at the end of the session, I'm going to share one link which is of just 5 minutes, and give it a try. I have given it a try and I can vouch for it that it's going to work for every one of you. If it doesn't work, come back to me. With this, I would like to start the session. And in order to start the session, first of all, I would like to call the general evaluator of the meeting to introduce the tag team and their responsibilities for the session, like what they're going to do for the session and how they will be evaluating the whole session. General evaluator, I welcome you to introduce your role and your team for the session.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shama. No matter what you do, it might escape the eyes of everyone, but it does not escape the eyes of your neighborhood auntie. She's always looking at you. She's seeing every mistake that you make, and she's seeing all your successes. Today, I have the privilege of taking up the role of neighborhood auntie. But can I monitor 10 participants alone? No, That's not possible. And this can only be done with two sets of team that I have. The first set will be the subjective evaluations, who will be listening to the prepared speeches and will be giving their evaluation at the end of the session. And the next set is the objective team. And the objective team is also called as STAT team, which stands for timer, R counter, and grammarian. To introduce more about their roles, I would first like to call upon today's timer of this session, which is timer Ankit. So please welcome on stage timer Ankit.
Thank you, Toastmaster Arun. So today I will be the timer of the day. I will be the timekeeper. I will look at the time while you are giving your speeches and will let you know by changing my virtual background. I'll just make my background to green when you are up with 5 minutes. Then we'll change it to yellow after 1 minute. And when you are hitting 7 minutes, I'll be giving you a buffer time for 30 seconds by changing this background to red. The same will happen during the table topics. At 1 minute, at 1.5 minutes, I'll show you the green. And at 2 minutes, I'll just show you the blue. I'll show you the red. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ankit, for describing your role. Next, I would call upon today's R counter, Toastmaster Rahul, to explain more about this role.
Thank you, General Evaluator Arun. I am the R counter for today's session, and my role is to catch your clutch words and filler words. We generally use a lot of filler words, and the goal is to, with each session, try to reduce our filler words. So I'll try to find unique patterns and words which we generally use during the speech. So I'll present the report towards the end of the session. Thank you so much. Over to Arun.
Thank you, Toastmaster Rahul. And now, last but not the least, we have the grammarian of the day, Toastmaster Imba Rajan. Please welcome on stage today's grammarian, Imba.
Thank you, Toastmaster Arun. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and friends. Today, in my role as a grammarian, I'll be paying close attention to usage of English and provide constructive feedback for improvements. And before that, I would like to introduce to you the word of the day that I've chosen. So the word of the day is generally to help fellow members to enrich your vocabulary in preparing your speech. So for this meeting, the word of the day is the word exemplary. I repeat, exemplary. So it means serving as a desirable model or something that's very good, that it is an example for others to follow. Now, some sample usages of the word is as follows. When my father retired from his company after 50 years of employment, he received a gold watch for his exemplary service. The men and women of the armed forces are exemplary citizens who put the needs of others before their own needs. Now, we are all encouraged to use this word of the day as frequent as you could in this meeting. And I'll also be counting as to how often it is being used by each speaker. And I will come back at the end of the meeting and I'll provide my report. And also, when any of our speakers use the word of the day, I would request you to show a thumbs up or some sort of an acknowledgement of the fact that they've done so. And yeah, that's it from my end. Back to you, Toastmaster Arun.
Thank you, Toastmaster Imba. And I request you to put the word of the day and its meaning in today's chat so that people can refer to it. I think that would make you an exemplary grammarian.
Yes.
With that, this is you'll be seeing more from me and the tag team at the very end of the session. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thanks, Arun. Thanks for explaining your and your team's role. Now, as most of us know that today is Talk of Champions Day, and we all wait for this. Now, we will not wait anymore. And right now, after some time, after introducing her, I'm gonna call who is gonna give Talk of Champions today. So for that, she's none other than Nitya. But I would like to introduce her. J. Endo Arokia Nitya is her full name, is a quality analyst, lead by profession, and an art entrepreneur by passion. A Liberty Gibbet but an introvert. I need to know how this is possible. Mother of drama queens, a multitasker, and a jack of many trades and master of some. Fondly branded as Jan, of Express to Lead. For your information, Jan is abbreviation of her name, which is J. Ento Arokya Nitya. This is Jan. You can call her after seeking permission from her. Having been encouraged by her parents to try everything from young age and to still tries to learn everything. She completed her DTM in the traditional program. She has won the Pathbreaker citation for 3 consecutive years by finishing 3 paths. She is winner of Triple Crown for 4 consecutive years. She has served as club mentor, club sponsor, YLP coordinator, and many such roles. She has been the leadership mentor for budding leaders. She has also served Division D Public Relations Manager and been a part of Coronation PR team for the term 1890. She also served the district by a selected distinguished area director for the Area D2 2019-2020. Last term, she served a District 92 Leadership Development Program Coordinator and Coronation 2021 PR Lead. She is the second runner-up of Humorous Contest in District Level 2020-21. We can expect much of humor in this session. And she is the Division D International Speech Contest Champion of 2020-21. Welcoming Nitya for today's Talk of Champions. Welcome, Nitya. A huge round of applause for Nitya.
Okay, so title will be given by you?
Yes, the title for Nitya's speech is The Tale of Two States. Chetan Bhagat's novel, I guess. The Tale of Two States, Nitya.
We have the best captain in the world, like Captain America. Do you know how many superheroes we have, like Batman? If you guys think it's a typical conversation between a Marvel fan and a DC fan, congratulations! You guys are absolutely wrong. Because this is a conversation between two spectators watching an ISL match of Kerala Blasters versus Chennai FC. Fellow Toastmasters, how many of you have seen this movie called Two States and felt marrying a person from a different state is a wonderful idea and a dream come true? If you guys have such dreams, because in 1988, a typical Malayali and a typical Tamilian decided to take this dream to next level. I'm not sure how things were happening between 1988 and 89, but I'm 100% sure after 1989, things weren't going well at all. Because I was born to those two spectators were my dad and my mom. My first confusion didn't occur to pick Kerala Blasters or Chennai FC. It all started on my first ever English class when the teacher asked, A for? And I froze. Because my father taught me this as an apple. And my mom taught this as an apple. So I was confused whether to say apple or an apple. So I decided to break the myth and said, A for? Into. Wait a minute. Anto. Wait a minute. Toastmaster of the day, how did you pronounce my name? Confused, right? That confusion was my life. Days later, when I decided to go for a dance class, a Ghanindra came to create confusion. My father started. Idai mola tikku Kadakali. Kadakali is the most elegant dance with a lot of drama, lot of makeup, and lot of things. And my mom immediately, hey, listen, don't pick Kathakali. If you pick Kathakali, you will end up with only this. Come to Bharatanatyam. You will learn 9 expressions, which you can use on your Toastmaster speech 20 years later. What a visionary mom I had. But this is where the moderator in me was born. If you guys think I learned panel moderation and online moderation in Toastmasters, I learned it there by saying, I'll learn both. 15 years later, when I got my first job, and that dream letter from all IT professionals from the HR desk saying, Dear Anto, Oroke, Nitya, Joseph, we would like to have a discussion with you tomorrow because we think we have a wonderful on-site opportunity for you. On-site? Because my thought process of on-site those days were, if they say on-site, I can pick any country I want. And I decided to buy a scratch map and scratch all that country in that one on-site. With all that excitement, I called, Mom, Dad, I guess they are going to give me an on-site opportunity. Which country I'll pick? Maybe Europe, America, Australia, Antarctica. And my mom, very calmly, listen, pick US. Why US, Ma? You know, there is a US written in our upper house, right house. Why not in our house? When did you become my insurance agent, Ma? And my dad immediately flicked the phone and said, Eddie, listen, don't pick a US. Don't go US. Why, acha? What if you bring a white boyfriend? Who will handle? White boyfriend. So, you have any suggestions, acha? Of course. Beautiful country. God's own country. Kerala. Nah, Gulf. But my HR came as a rescue. She didn't give me US or she didn't give me Gulf, but the most exotic place on the earth. And I was happy that I got an opportunity to visit that paradise on earth called Shivaji Nagar. They asked me to go to Shivaji Nagar office for 2 months and then they called it as an on-site opportunity. What not? Onam, Pongal, Vishu, Tamil New Year, Mohanlal, Kamal Hassan, Mammootty, Rajinikanth, guys. Even these actors started acting together. Why you guys can't watch a movie together without fighting on their performance, which even they don't care about? If you guys think the one thing getting affected by Kerala and Tamil Nadu is Mullai Periyar Dam, no, it's me. I don't know whether the Mullai Periyar Dam will burst or not, but my head will burst if I live with these two. But I always think, how come, in spite of all these differences, these two were sticking together for 32 years? And that's where I started to notice very keenly, like all of you are noticing me now. They were cooking together. They were cleaning together. They do grocery shopping together. They plan all the financials together. Even they scold me together. And that's where I understood. Just if you have that love and the togetherness, you will be able to survive any relationship. Be it a lesbian, be it a gay, be it two states, any relationship is possible if there is love and understanding. Yes? Baby, will you marry me? And that's my boyfriend from Madhya Pradesh. Do you think I need to carry the legacy? Over to MC.
After her speech, I'm speechless. And I started thinking, do we have to carry the legacy? And next time, when we invite Nitya, we have to hear that you have carried the legacy or not. I must say, yes, I expected that we will have lots of humor, and yes, we did. And you have, I don't have words to explain how exactly I'm feeling, but it was wonderful listening to you, your props, your speeches, your story. And yes, I will talk to Arun and every executive team members that we will make sure we are going to hear that legacy has carried forward or not. Till then, we will wait. Thank you so much. Big round of applause for Natya. Now, moving on to our next session. Can I take a meditation session now? Are we ready? But unfortunately, I don't have that much time. But I'm going to tell a very, very simple rule. If you are stressed and you feel tension at some point of your body, at some part of your body, you just have to close your eyes. I know it's difficult to close your eyes because for me, I can't close my eyes. My mind keeps wandering. But just take 2 minutes out of your schedule, close your eyes, and try to release tension in every part of your body. That's the thumb rule to control your mental status. We will try if time permits. Now, moving on to the next session, I would like to call the evaluator of the first speech, and it's none other than Nitya, who will be evaluating the first speech and set the objective for first speaker, our first speaker. Nitya, can you please set the objective for our first speaker?
Sure. So, good evening, one and all. And today's speaker will be attempting level 2, project 1 from the PATH team collaboration. And the project title is Understanding Your Leadership Style. The purpose of this project is for the member to identify his or her primary leadership style or styles. The purpose of this speech is for the member to share some aspect of his or her primary leadership style or discuss leadership style in general. The timer, please note the time limit is 5 to 7 minutes. All the best to the speaker. Over to the MC.
Now calling our first speaker of the session, Madhupa, to give her prepared speech on leadership styles. Madhupa,
Thank you, Shama.
Yeah. Thank you.
After the explanatory speech of Nitya, where I was completely scared, I was shivering before the speech, and right now, the nervousness, the tension, everything has raised to infinity. I always used to think there are two things in the world, I and we. And that's the topic for me today. I and we are the two words that defines me. Dear Toastmasters and guests, I'm not sure how many of you will agree to that I and we are very powerful words. And those are the words that define me. I totally agree. It was a lesson which was taught to me by my grandma. Long before I understand what is this leadership and the high words like you're gaining confidence, leading, motivation, and so on. If you see the leadership, it's just a slot of heavy words and afters and words. She showed me something very simple, that we all have some character, something which is very dominant in us. Everyone can see it, but you throw yourself in a different situation. You know how things will be. You can anytime change your gear and you can take the control. That's your leadership, and that's what is there within. People who know me here, who have heard my previous speeches, might be thinking, Madhupa's grandmom. She got married at age of 12, 7 kids, dozen of grandchildren, homemaker, never left the boundaries of her house. And she, a leadership guru for Madhupa, how it will be. I really don't want to answer to you guys. I just want you to listen to one small story. And if you agree to me, I'm pretty sure at the end of the day, you will surely correlate with me that She is an exemplary example of a leader leading the sacred organization called family. This was a year, I think somewhere around 1997, 98, my youngest uncle was getting married. The bride's father was not well, and it was decided that marriage will be done within a period of 2 weeks. Now you know how Indian marriages are, right? Indian marriages are awesome. Simple social marriage, but we have ample of preparation. Trust me, ample means ample. There are a list of things which has to be done. And here come my great joint family. Everyone sitting in the drawing room, and all you can see is like here and see, blah, 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 blah. Trust me, that was really the scene. No one was listening to what the other person was saying. Everyone was just saying what they want to see. And from somewhere, kitchen, other side, my grandmom comes wearing her traditional Bengali sari, wiping her hands, and she entered the room. She just came there and she asked, so all things decided? And everyone started, Ma, this is the thing, Ma, that is the thing, Ma. And she just looked. She just saw everyone. She paused. And it came. I think, mind the word, I think you guys should do this. And then there was a list of instruction given to all her sons, all her daughter-in-laws, all her daughters. I think if that is not an example of bureaucratic leadership, if that is not about taking the control of the solution, what kind of leadership she was showing them? Next, she finishes her duties. She has given everything to everyone. Everyone at this moment knew what they have to do, when they have to do, how they have to do, and all was sorted. The next thing came into picture. You see our tummy. Our tummy is the most important part of any Indian occasion. Without food, nothing can happen. And marriage, it's impossible. And we were the decider. The next generation, which was sitting in other room, not understanding what is happening, we've got the chance to decide the menu. She came to us and she asked us, what do you want like to eat? And rasgulla, gulab jamun, chicken curry, protein, every list, whatever came to our mind, it was a bucket list. Grandmom asking you, you have everything ready in your hand. Why not to say? She very nicely made sure that some item from all the cousins, you might say dozens of us, so dozen things were picked very nicely so that none of us are unhappy. We were sure that things will be done and things will be done perfectly. That was an example of democratic leadership. As we moved after that, it was a time when she, like after the marriage, my aunt comes in, and then it was like she was now doing the next step. She was teaching her, making her part of her family, telling her what is good, what are the rules not to be broken, what are the things must do, some flaws in her, some flaws in the families, some good part of family. Also asking and making the aunt feel at home with all the details. If that is not assertive leadership, what it is? So now if someone says me, she is not an example of leadership, I don't think so that was right. Now, that was her. I have to say about me also, right? That is one of the objectives. And if I know what I am, I'm just a person who wants her team to be carried with us, her. She likes to motivate her team. She likes to take her team along. It's my team. It's my responsibility. I have to take them as they go along with me. And last but not the least, I hope I can conclude my speech with the statement. The way I use the word I, and we. It speaks a lot about us and not just me. Thank you.
Thanks, Madhuba. Thanks for the wonderful speech on leadership. And one thing which take I can take away from Madhuba's speech is tummy is very important. I know leadership is also, but definitely tummy is important. And the last line which she said is the way how we use I and me. Tell more about us. Definitely. Thanks, Madhuba, for the wonderful speech and all the best. Now, moving on to the next prepared speech. For that, I would like to call Ankit for setting the objective for Gyanin's speech. Speech objective. Ankit, can you please set speech objective for Gyanin?
Thank you, Toastmaster Shama. So Toastmaster Ghanindra from Toastmasters for Cash Flow Entrepreneurship is going to attempt his L1P3 speech. It is a leadership development pathway, and the timing would be from 5 to 7 minutes. The purpose of this project is for the member to learn or review basic research methods and present as a well-organized, well-researched speech on any topic. Over to you, Toastmaster Chama.
Hello, good evening, fellow Toastmaster.
1 minute. Thanks, Ankit. Thanks for setting the speech objective. Now, I would like to call Gyanendra. Gyanendra, you can start your speech now. All the best.
Thank you, TMOD. Thank you, fellow Toastmaster. And good evening, fellow Toastmaster and esteemed guest. I would like to show you two sides of the GST, which is the major aspect in business compliances. So please let me know how many of you are entrepreneur is there here. Please raise your hand or type me. Thank you. So India being a federal country, follow a three-tier taxation structure in which taxation rights are distributed among union government, state government, and local bodies. The union government control personal income tax, corporate income tax, and custom duty, and capital gain tax. And while states have control over the land taxes, vehicle taxes, and etc. And local bodies do have a few taxation rights, but they don't have the rights to offer tax incentives. In 2017, India has introduced the GST, Goods and Service Tax, which almost all indirect taxes included, which were previously levied by central and state government. GST has changed the structure of many of above mentioned incentives related to indirect taxes. For example, the VAT refund for export has taken the form of GST refund. Many states are also providing or planning incentive under the new GST regime. SME, small and medium enterprises, has been considered as a primary growth driver of the Indian economy for decades. It is a further evident from the fact that today we have around 3 million SME in India, contributing almost 50% of the industrial output and 42% of the India's total exports. For developing country like India and its demographic diversity, SME has emerged as a leading employment generating sector and has provided balanced development across sector. Let's examine what would be the impact of GST on small and medium enterprises. Lots of jokes were seen on the social media while GST implementation phases. When wife asked husband, "Do you love me 100%?" Husband replied, "Only 20%, remaining 28% on luxurious taxes." So let's see the positive sides of the GST. Payment. Electronic compliances will bring transparency and will also reduce the cost of compliances cost. Refund. Electronic refund produce will fast track the process and enhance the liquidity of SMEs. Returns. All returns are required to be filled electronically, and input tax credit and tax liability adjustment will happens automatically on the basis of these returns. And let's see the negative side of the GST. Payment. Since funds are required to be maintained in the form of electronic credit ledger with tax department, it may result in liquidity crunches. Refund. Refund can be claimed only after filling of relevant return. Also, it depends on the compliances done by the supplier and his rating. Returns. SME will have to deploy additional resources and eventually cost of compliances will increase. No doubt, GST is aimed to increase the taxpayer base majorly SME into its scope and will put a burden of compliances and associate cost to them. Complying with GST a bit complex for MSME at present level. However, in the long run, it will be benefit small and medium businesses as well as consumer. I hope GST may be exemplary for SME and as well as customer. Thank you. Signing off. Over to you, TMOD.
Thanks, Gyanendra. Thanks for enlightening us with what exactly GST is. And I can say, I just know the full form of GST is Goods and Services Tax. But definitely, if I have some doubt, I'll come to you. Now, moving on to our next session, which is Table Topics Master. For that, I would like to invite Rahul to start the table topic session of the day. Rahul?
Hello, everyone. So I'm back again, and I'll be conducting this interesting session that is, we all know, that is impromptu speaking, where we come up on stage and speak for 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes. And I have got some nice topics today. And as you all know, that today's theme is around meditation and mental well-being and how to cope up with stress. And our last speaker mentioned about, transaction, GST, money, right? It involves also a lot of stress, right? Understanding those numbers and all returns and Form 12 and whatnot, right? Things like that. So these topics are going to be personal, and I want you all to share your personal stories or some anecdotes from which we all can relate to. And I would prefer listening to your personal stories and your personal techniques and things like that. So this is going to be a very, very, very personal touch. So please make sure that whatever you share from your own day-to-day life. And let's proceed ahead with our first topic. And my first topic is a very common and it's a very generic. We all face this problem in our day-to-day life. When we have a lot of stress, the first reaction to stress is either anger, where we react to situation, react to people saying something, or we react to our boss's comment, or our colleague, they are saying, giving us some feedback, we react to it instead of responding to it, right? Now there's a difference between reacting and responding. So I think I have sort of given you some hint, and you also have some time to think. So my theme is, the topic is, how do you calm yourself when you are angry? So I repeat, how do you calm yourself when you are angry? I see Madhupa raising her hand. Okay, over to you, Toastmaster Madhupa.
Thank you, Rahul. And thanks for giving me the chance. This reminds me of an interesting meeting I had inside office. Though Samsung is a brand topic, but still I will take the liberty to share the story. It was a meeting with some VPs, and it was on some critical situation. And me being the most short-tempered girl of my team, I just went and blasted them without thinking that if they just say that, okay, her behavior is not good, I have to resign immediately. I have taken that thing and I just blabbered out whatever was there in my mind, which was completely against the 3 VPs who were sitting in front of me. Sorry, 1 VP and 2 directors who were sitting in front of me. I just blabbered. Whole meeting room was like quiet, and it was a mixed crowd. It was not that it is just them, but it was a mixed crowd. And after we came out of the meeting, the VP called me and he told me, when you are angry, write mail. Initially, I was very surprised. Like, not surprised, but I was like, what is this? How can writing mail solve the problem? But after this happened somewhere around 3 years back. And after 3 years, now I can for sure say writing mail helps. And if I am angry, I write mail. I write, I rewrite, I rewrite, I rewrite. Finally, my anger goes off and I very nicely say the things. I still say the things polished and perfect. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Madhupa. So, thank you so much, Toastmaster Madhupa. So I would request our XCOM committee to share their personal IDs, please, with Madhupa, so that if we are doing something wrong with our club, and if she's upset with our performance, she can write a mail to us. And thank you so much for that, sharing your story and that technique. I think writing actually helps, and it helps us to articulate our thoughts. And it's more like a self-reflection and me time. So that helps. So moving on to next topic. So now you all are calm, right? You were angry, and then now we are all calm after writing a mail, right? Now we are sitting on our table, on our desk, we are working. For working, we need focus. And in this digital age, it's very, very extremely difficult to focus. I think I have given you enough time to think on this topic, focus. Now the question goes like this. How do you improve focus in this highly digital or social age? Any techniques? I see Toastmaster, distinguished Toastmaster, rather, Anto Nitya. Over to you.
So yeah, basically in this digital world, our focus mostly goes when the sound of our notification comes, right? When we are doing the work and there is a ting, that's it. We go this side, right? That's exactly our focus goes especially in the digital manner. And this is where the first step I did was I disabled all the WhatsApp notification, because I'm part of almost some around 70 groups, and people start pinging each and every time. I lose my focus over there. The first step I did was disabling all the WhatsApp notification. And the second thing I started doing was, this is something which I learned from my mentor, who has been in a Toastmasters again. So she was a productive coach, 10x productive coach. So she told me a technique which was really effective, and until now I'm using it to gain my focus. It's called Pomerado Technique. It's basically what you have to do is 20 minutes, you have to entirely focus on your work. And then you take 2 minutes of break to do the other things. And then again, 20 minutes focused. With this, I'm telling you what at all I achieved actually. In my project, what happened was whatever we did, everything got corrupted. For 2 weeks, we did something and everything got corrupted. And finally, but we had only 2 days to complete that deadline. So I told all my teammates that let's do like this. 20 minutes we'll focus and 2 minutes we'll do other things. 20 minutes like that. We had that break, and believe me or not, that entire 2 weeks work was done in 2 days in the same quality. So that technique really helps. And more than that, as an art entrepreneur, I follow another technique, which is called Zentangle. So Zentangle and mandala art kind of things, right? Because that we don't use pencils, we use pen to draw, and it will be very small things. So it will be so much focused on that. So that also improved my focus, especially in this digital era. So in case if you are focusing on my speech, I guess you can try to focus on these 3 techniques as well. Over to you, David, Dr. Master.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Antonitya. I think we all will practice that technique. That's a very, very effective technique as well. And being a designer, I can also understand, like when you create something, you draw something, you connect with that. So that's also very meditative, that pen and pencil and your mind. So thank you so much for sharing that experience. We all should follow that. Okay, now, so first half you had your fight, and now you have written a mail to your boss. Now you are at your desk. You want to focus. You have used this technique of Pomerado, and then for 2 minutes break, you have, made some mandalas. Now it's time to go back home. Now here's the second topic, and which goes like this. Are you more of a me time person or a social person? You're back home. Now you have to do something. Either you will be with your own, on yourself, like with yourself, not lonely, but alone with yourself, or you'll go and meet your friends or into a social gathering or something. And why? Are you more of a me time person or a social person, and why? I see Neeta, is it Neeta Bansali?
No, it's Neets Bansali.
Neets Bansali. Okay. Over to Toastmaster Neets Bansali.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Good evening, good evening, fellow Toastmasters. Thank you for the question, Rahul. The question was, you are more of a me person or a social person, and why? Am I right? Yes. As I heard the question, it's a very interesting question. I am both. When I come back home from my office regularly, it's basically I'm a me person. The reason being me person in the sense is I am already socialized in the sense I meet my friends in the office, my colleagues in the office, and spend the complete 8 hours with them and work together and spend time together and do our tasks together and come back home. When I come back home, I love to be my own self. Come home, read some effective books, learn something new, and I would like to excel that in my life and get things and learn different type of things, as Ms. Nitya told. So I love cooking. I love doing this craft work. So I go on to YouTube, see small craft works, and learn a lot of things. And I have just started having a craze of reading a lot of books. So I have just bought a lot of ebooks, and I am day by day, just, reading books and trying to be my own self and implementing those techniques in my life. So yes, this is it. Thank you, Rahul.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Neets Mansali. I think that's a very good balance to have, to be a me time person and also a social person. Because I have personally seen that being at home, when I meet after like a couple of months, when I gather with my friend, I don't know, I somehow feel little, I'm not able to, adjust to the environment because I'm so used to being alone and working on computer and things like that. So I think there should be a balance. And when we talk about meditation, it's all about balance.
True,
Okay,
very true.
last question is, it's a very, very difficult question. And you guys will find it very difficult because it's very difficult to get stories, personal stories on this topic. So, and it's a very simple question as well. What is meditation for you? Okay, Toastmaster Shama, over to you.
Meditation for me is me time. I would explain how exactly it goes. If I want to meditate, I want everything to be with me. I want to be with myself, no one else. Even if it is for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or 30 minutes. That is meditation for me. Me, my room, my wardrobes, my laptop, my notebook, my book, and my environment where I can feel myself. My pajamas, my comfortable t-shirt, comfortable bed, comfortable table, chair, everything which comforts me and soothes me is meditation for me. And one more thing, I have a WhatsApp group, which is I and me. That's it. No one else. Whatever I feel like in the night, sometimes many thoughts comes. Good, bad, positive, negative. If it is positive and I want to note down, I'll be too lazy to get up, take my notebook and pen. I'll go to I and me group, type, and send. Bindas. No worries. No one is gonna judge you, and you'll have it. Morning when you wake up, you will think that I have thought of something. Let's see. So sometimes it's like awareness is aware is care. Some sort of rhyming things which comes in my mind at night when I sleep. That is the only time when it comes. And those rhyming words, I want to save it. I want to archive it. And it's my group, I and me. And only my photograph. I don't change profile picture. It's just me. One of my favorite picture. So that is how I meditate. And yes, definitely at the end of the session, I'm going to share one link and you all can meditate. That is the general way of meditating. And today I have tried something new in order to meditate. Instead of using my bed, my table or chair, I have sat on the floor, taking this as a support and using bed table. And I feel comfortable in this position. And I feel very grounded and attached to the Mother Earth. So this is how I meditate. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Shama, for that detailed story. Very vivid, I would say. And definitely after this meeting, I'm going to create a I and me group on WhatsApp. And let's see what all stories I have to share with me. One last thought. So I think we are done with this table topic session. And this is just an experiment. It's just a suggestion. We all can have a sleep journal. By a sleep journal, I mean a lot of times when we sleep, we see dreams, right? And dreams we are able to remember. Sometimes we are not able to remember. We think that, okay, morning I'll wake up and then I'll revisit those dreams. It's very difficult to do that. So what I did, I have developed this style of writing in dark so that I can, actually close my eyes and write. Everybody can do that, right? It's just that you have to have a big paper so that you can write all the things. So whenever you feel that you're awake and you're conscious enough to pick a pen and a paper, just write down what you have visualized or what you have seen in your dream and have that sleep journal. I'm telling you, maintain that for a month and try to revisit. You might see that there's another personality in yourself, and then it's amazing actually. So I have tried this, I have seen, and there are lots of stories. So I haven't created that group, but I have that I and me journal basically. So try that and see after a month or a week, you will definitely be amazed like what all thoughts come to your mind when you are asleep. So thank you so much for sharing your lovely stories. With that, I would like to end my session, that is table topic session. Thank you all.
Thanks, Rahul. Thanks for such wonderful topics. And the best part of it is you have mentioned that it should be your personal story. You cannot put forth fictional stories. That's why everyone came up with their own stories, and your topics and everyone's personal stories make those topics very interesting and engaging. Anyways, personal stories are always interesting. This is what I feel. And this, the last technique which you have told, I'm definitely gonna try this because this is even more comfortable. I don't have to open my eyes. I can just scribble, and after that I'll see how. And it's developing an art in itself, writing and closing your eyes. I think this also we all can try as a part of meditation. So one link which I'm going to post, other which Rahul has explained, and we will revisit how it has worked for all of us.
But somehow we will definitely get negative thoughts also, right? Rahul asked us to write, but so many times we have come across in the dream that we have negative thoughts. So how do we deal with them? Even we need to write that also in the journal?
I can answer that. That's I and me group.
Please.
So you can ask either me or I.
Yes, Rahul.
So the first priority which all of us have is I and me. Prioritize yourself. Try to calm yourself, stabilize yourself through meditation. I'm going to post a link at the end of the session. So wait for that link. Now moving on to the session. Now we have completed our prepared speech and table topic sessions. Now the time for evaluations. I would like to call General Evaluator to put forth all the evaluations along with his team. Arun, can you please tell us the evaluation?
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day. I'm back as the general evaluator, and now my whole team will be evaluating the session. So first off, we'll be having the subjective evaluation. And in subjective evaluation, we'll have the speech evaluators who have evaluated the prepared speeches, who will come forth and they will tell their evaluations. So for the first speech, I would like to request DTM Nitya to come forward and evaluate Madhupa's speech. Over to you, DTM Nitya.
Thank you, Arun. As Steve Jobs said, great things in business are never done by one person. They're done by a team of people. And today's speaker, Madhupa, converted that the great things in business alone is not require a team, but also great things in a family also requires a team. Wonderful speech, Toastmaster Madhupa. When you opened the speech, we were thinking that you're going to talk about you inspiring a team of people to come and work along with you. But you gave a surprise twist by saying, it's my family, guys. And for a minute, I thought, what? Whether the Fast and Furious Vin Diesel is making a guest appearance over here? It was so amazing. And the way how you explained that family can also, we can witness the leadership in family as well, which is very wonderful thinking. And also it was so relatable to each and every one of us, because we have seen such relatives around us, right? We also have organized a few weddings. We also have seen how important food is, especially, right? And how important tummy is, of course, right? All the issues we face in organizing an event and everything, it was so relatable. That is something which I loved about your speech. So now let me come to few points which can make this speech to go greater heights. The first thing is You are a wonderful storyteller. The way how you narrated the entire wedding scene and everything was so amazing. But there are few elements which you can give to the story to make it in a very good story. Okay, like visual elements. For one particular relative, you told that Bengali sari and all those things. So that time we were able to visualize that particular relative. But other relatives, that visual elements were little bit of missing. So in case if you are not able to convey that as a visual elements, make it as a vocal variety to make them feel the difference between the relatives. Okay, so that is one thing I will say to make to be more specific for the character development in the storyline. And the second thing what I will be saying is handling your gestures. You are so amazing with gestures, but for few minutes I have seen a pen like this on your hand, which doesn't add any value to the speech. I was thinking whether this prop is used for adding a value to the speech. And then I was like, okay, this might be a restriction. So try to avoid such kind of props until unless if it is used for the speech. And so that, because the problem is you are doing a very nice gestures, but for some time the pen comes in and distracts that, right? So that is one thing one of the improvement I have seen. And the next thing is on the online setup, right? In the online setup, we are facing a camera instead of an audience. So we have to make sure the audience are not distracted or they are able to see us very clearly. So try to keep the camera straight to your face. And also try to have the lighting in front of you rather than the backside, because when you're moving, the glare will come and make the audience bit unclear. So that is also one of the things which I felt in an online setup. This can be improved on your side. Overall, I was able to see the entire leadership structure, how nicely in a general way you discussed, and finally you transition to your leadership style and say that I'm a team player and a team leader, right? That is how you connected the speech, and you made sure the purpose of the speech was also maintained. Overall, an excellent speech with the small points of improvement, the speech can go greater heights. Over to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, DTM Nitya, for that wonderful evaluation. It was very well structured, and I think you covered all the points over there. Coming to Madhuba, I think this is your first speech in this virtual environment, and you're back in Toastmasters giving a speech with the band. Really loved your speech. I felt that your whole speech was like a fireside chat rather than a prepared speech, where you were narrating your personal stories, and we could all connect with it. But I think one of the main thing was the timing. You did not factor in the time, because when we were while we were waiting to listen to your personal leadership stories, Ankit was already flashing the red card. But other than that, the whole speech, I really loved listening to it. Moving on, I would like to call upon Toastmaster Ankit to give the evaluation for Toastmaster Ghanindra's speech. So please welcome on stage Toastmaster Ankit.
Thank you, Toastmaster Arun, and congratulations to Toastmaster Ghanindra for completing his L1P3 speech. Ghanindra, I have few things which I actually liked in your speech, and I would like to stress more on them. You came up with a very well-researched topic, but I think that that topic could have been elaborated more based on the audience. Like you asked a question that how many of you are entrepreneurs over here? So that could have been researched beforehand by talking to the VP education of the Toastmasters Club, that who exactly are going to be my audience, so that you could have come with an preparation that, okay, these people might be not aware of few jargons, so that if I'm coming up prepared within a speech, that should be helpful for them. And as you had done such an excellent research, that could have been very much useful to people if we could have elaborated more on few points. Coming to the few things which were like really great, the spoken language which you used was very, very clear. You had a tonality of your voice, means you were not very monotonous. You were speaking on different tones, and that could keep an audience attached to your speech, which was really nice. I was looking at you and I could see that you were not looking hither and thither. You were just looking in front of the camera, and that was really nice. And as our DTM Nitya has suggested that during our online meetings, if we stand up and if we position our camera in such a way that if we are visible and our hand gestures are visible, these two things will add more value to your speech and will attract more audience. Means people will not sway away from listening you if you are trying to pull them towards yourself. The uses of physical gesture was not made very much because we are doing the meetings in an online setting. But overall, the awareness of the engagement of the audience, their needs was really, really nice. As you were attempting this speech, I could see that you were very much comfortable in front of the audience. Means I could not spot any fear in you when you were presenting your topic, and that was really nice. I would like to take it from you. Along with that, when you came up with a well-constructed content, it was again very well constructed. You started with a preface, you had a body of your speech, and you concluded it well within the time limits, and that was really nice. Well, what I can suggest to you is that you had 2 extra minutes which you could have used to explain all those points and to showcase more about your research. Overall, I liked your speech really. I would like to again connect to you so that I could learn more about GST because I have no idea about it, and I would like to learn more from you. Thank you, Ghanindra, for coming to our Toastmaster Club, and we would like to have you over in the future as well. Thank you. Over to you, Toastmaster Arun.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ankit, for that comprehensive evaluation of the speech. I think you have covered all the points. Ankit, coming to you, your evaluation. I feel your evaluation would have been better with as the same point you mentioned, with better body language, because in between the speech, in between your evaluation, it felt like you were reading off the screen where you might have noted down some points. But it would have been better if you could look into the camera, which is a hard job because evaluation you would have written like 15 minutes ago, and you're constructing a speech. And it's a very hard job to keep an eye contact during your evaluation. But I feel that if you do maintain eye contact, it would bring your evaluation to a whole new level. Coming to Toastmaster Ghanindra. First of all, Toastmaster Ghanindra, I would like to applaud you because this might be your L1 P3 speech, which is just the 4th speech of your pathway, and delivering the speech in a whole new club. It's very commendable. So thank you for giving your speech over here. We have a saying here that audience is God. And coming to Samsung Bangalore Toastmasters Club, where Toastmasters are predominantly of technological background, and listening to you talk about GST, where I'm in the same boat as Ankit, where I don't understand much about GST. But listening to your speech, it was easily understandable. So kudos on that. I feel that because we were of a different background, it would have helped me more if you had used visual aids such as a PowerPoint presentation. Because then I would with both hearing and with inputs in both audio and visual format, it would have been a more high probability that I would have remembered the content. And the second thing was, and one more thing where you can work on would be voice modulation. For example, there was one joke which I really liked, and it was the GST theme joke where you mentioned that the wife asks husband, "How much do you love me?" And the husband says that only 20% and 28% if it is luxurious. But there, if you would have used voice modulation, and if it would have been clearly demarcated from your speech that that's a joke, then your speech would have been to the next level. So these are some points from my side. Thank you for visiting our club and giving your speech over here. Moving on, it's time for the objective evaluation team. And first off, I would like to call upon the timer of today's session, Toastmaster Ankit, to deliver his time reports. Over to you, Ankit.
Thank you, Toastmaster Arun. All of our speakers were within their time limits, which is 7 minutes and 30 seconds. And all the table topic speaker except Chama were under their time limits. Chama took around 2 minutes and 26 seconds to express her emotions. Over to you, Toastmaster.
Okay, so I think there's an error because the table topics time limit is until 2 minutes 30 seconds, right? You get 30 seconds extra after showing the red card at 2 minutes.
Yeah, so Chama took 2 minutes and 36 seconds.
Oh, 36. Okay, sorry. I heard it as 2 minutes 26 seconds. Thank you for the timer report, Ankit. Moving on, I would like to call upon Toastmaster Rahul for delivering his R counter report.
Hello everyone, so I'm back with my report, and as an R counter, I'm really proud of you guys, and I'm very happy because my list is very small, and I can see only few strikes. So I'll start. Why am I using that here? Anyways, so TMOD, Shama, when you were on stage throughout this speech, you have used just 5 hours, which is good. Arun, when you were taking other roles apart from evaluation, I'll come on that. Other roles, you have used just 2 hours. I'm impressed. Ankit, same. When on other roles, you have used 1 hour. Antonitya, none. I was actually finding that can I, have at least one, but I couldn't find any. I'll be very honest. Madhupa, same, none. Ghanindra, as you have written on your background, you are a prepared speaker. It seems that you have really prepared well. You have just used 1 hour. Moving on to TT speakers, table topic speakers, starting with Madhupa. I think you saved your hours, 2 hours from your prepared speech, and you have used them in your impromptu speech. Antonitya, again, 0. Neets Bhansali, you have used 3 hours. Shama, you have used 4 hours in your during your table topic speech. Coming on to evaluation. Toastmaster Antonitya, I could find 1 hour, and that is and ah. So please work on that. Toastmaster Ankit, here you sort of used a lot of hours, and there were 4 hours, and you sort of stammered a bit as well. You were like I, and then you were thinking. So I could see that pattern. When you're thinking, you are like I, or you stammer a bit. So we can work on that as well. Arun, you have used, so when you were evaluating both the speakers, evaluators, you used 5 hours and 1 and so you also have a pattern of using and then extending it with so this is my report, and I'm glad that you guys made me do less work in this session, and I hope that continues. So over to General Evaluator Toastmaster Arun.
Thank you, Toastmaster Rahul, for pointing out all those crutch words which we have been using. I'm sure that we can improve upon them, and we'll be reducing your workload further in the future. Next up, we have our grammarian, Toastmaster Inba.
Yeah, thank you, Toastmaster Arun. And just as Rahul was, I too am very pleased with the meeting. It was an exemplary meeting today. And to start off with Nitya's speech. So Nitya, I have to admit, actually, as a Tamilian and as a lot of Malayali friends, right, the pronunciation was something that caught my attention. Especially when you brought in what your dad said and what your mother said, right? It was nice, actually. The subtle or not so subtle differences, it stood out for me. And that was something that I really liked because that actually added a lot of weightage to what you were presenting to us. And grammatically, I think it was all good, and you did a very good job there. And so moving on to prepared speakers, so we have Madhupa. So Madhupa, just one broad observation was with your tenses, right? You were off here and there. So as an example, not before I understand the leadership. So with your tenses, right? Maybe that's something that you could just work on a bit. And apart from that, It was mostly good. You did use some metaphors like, sacred organization for a family and so. And your closing, of course, the statement was good. You used terms like bureaucratic, democratic, assertive. Perhaps you could have just, explained those words in the context of what you were speaking. And so that was something good. And moving on to Ghanindra, so I like it. He used a lot of good terms actually. So Ankit did call it jargons, but for someone that's been following this news a lot, right? This was something that I could relate to. Federal demographic diversity and so. But as he did rightly point out, maybe to your audience, maybe you could have explained it a bit more. But otherwise, the words were good, and there were certain grammatically misplaced terms, and there could be some improvements over there. For instance, you use something like while implementing GST, implementing phases. Sorry, it will be benefit. So perhaps this is not the way you intended to use it, but perhaps with a bit more practice, maybe you can actually smoothen those things out as well. And moving on to table topics. Yeah, I could notice here, Madhapa, though there were tense mistakes here, but you were so more conscious of the presence that you actually tried correcting them also. So every time you got the tense wrong, the next word basically you correct the tense and you continue with it. And I like that suggestion of writing a mail. Polished and perfect was something that I liked the way you concluded. And Nitya, again, there was this thing where you said something like part of, some, or around, almost. So I was a little off actually, but otherwise, I personally, maybe Rahul was aware already, but I was introducing new terms. Pomerado, Zentangle, Mondola. So that was something new for me. I'll definitely look it up. And needs, it was generally good. All of you, grammatically, everything was sound. And Shama used the word soothes, which is again good. I and me group, that was very unique again. And as far as Rahul goes, Rahul used good terms. He used articulate, self-reflection, vivid. So these were nice. And overall, it was a good meeting. And word of the day usage, I saw Arun, Madhupa, and Ghanindra use these words. We started off well, but towards the end, there was hardly anyone using it. I think I finished it with using it. But a great meeting overall. And over to Toastmaster again.
Thank you, Toastmaster Imba, for the comprehensive grammarian report. And I would like to applaud you for choosing this word of the day. I felt it was easy and we can use it in different contexts. And yeah, I hope everyone takes it up and uses and makes it a part of their vocabulary. Now, it's time for the GE monologue. So coming for this, when we started 1 minute late, and I think we can all work on that. We can all try to be more punctual. Toastmaster Shama, great choice of a theme. As usual, you have been choosing themes which are very relevant to these uncertain times. And today itself, listening to a lot of speakers talk about the different ways of relaxation, I think I could gather a few more ways which I'll be definitely implementing. And your transitions were very smooth after the prepared speech, after each prepared speech, transitioning to the next speech was very smooth. So that is something which I would like to learn from you. And coming to DTM Nitya speech, I think my mouth can make only two movements. It's like either smile or it can go down. But with DTM Nitya's speech, where she was conjuring things from the air and she was packing punchline after punchline, my mouth was trying to do two things simultaneously. It was also trying to laugh and it was also trying, and my jaw was trying to hang down with awe. So thanks a lot, DTM Nitya, for coming to our session today and delivering that wonderful, hilarious speech. And I would also like to thank you for participating in table topics and also taking up the evaluator role today and throughout showing us how a benchmark prepared speech, how a benchmark table topics, and how a benchmark evaluation is delivered. So thank you for participating in our session today. Moving on with the table topic master. Great choice again, Rahul. Your table topics were very related to the theme. And just like Shama, your transitions, like after every speech, I loved how you replied to the speaker while transitioning to the next topic. But moreover, I liked how you connected different topics, how you made a story from each topic, where you were like, okay, now you are angry in office. Okay, now you have cooled down and you are at your home. What will you do? And I loved that. I loved how you were connecting different topics all together. And yeah, I think that's it. The rest of the evaluations have been done. That's all from the GE's side. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thanks, Arun. Thanks for the wonderful and exemplary evaluation which you have done for the entire session. I know Grammarian report has been already done, but still I wanted to use it for Arjun's evaluation and the entire session, which we have made it possible with the theme in place, table topic sessions in place, all the speeches in place, everything perfect, picture perfect, I can say. And yes, one more thing, I have pasted the link in the chat window. It's just for 5 minutes and I cannot guarantee, but I can say it will try and help you to relax yourself. You just have to take 5 minutes out of your schedule and try to listen to this and try to do what the video says. And I think you can feel the difference. Now it's the end of the session. I hope every one of us being able to calm ourselves in these uncertain times, because we go through a lot every day considering different scenarios. This meeting was wonderful, and over to Arun for his closing remarks. And do we have a vote, Arun?
Yes,
Maybe.
I'm posting
Yeah,
the voting form on
okay.
the chat.
Would request everyone to vote for all the role takers.
As we are all voting, I would like to request our guests, Nitya, Ghanindra, needs to share any feedback of our sessions.
Okay. I guess this is the first time I'm visiting Samsung Toastmasters Club, and the way how you guys conducted the meeting was really amazing, and you guys are doing so great. And first of all, when Arun came to me and asked for this, I was like, okay, this is something new, because not everyone does. They call the winners just for giving some education session, which I really hate. I'm telling you, as a person who have attended a lot of education session, I'm someone who hate education session, because that restricts ourselves within your, some techniques we will like to do it, but some people might have not worked for them, they will say, and we will not try. So such kind of things I will, and I was so happy that they asked for, can you repeat the speech over here so that you can show us how you done it. That is something I loved about it. Instead of me saying how I done, I will show you how I done. That is one thing I was so amazed and awed by this club, actually, I can say. Thanks for this opportunity, and thanks I was able to participate in many things. And thanks, Arun, for asking me to be an evaluator as well. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And all the best, guys. Of course, I'll be visiting you guys often.
Thanks, Toastmaster Nitya. I think seeing all your awards list, we'll have to call you multiple times for as a part of this talk of champions. And as Shama mentioned, we are all interested to know what happens to the legacy.
Yes.
So we'll be calling you multiple times, and we hope you participate again in our session.
Season 2.
Toastmaster Ghanindra, do you have any feedback that you want to share with us?
Yes, I done in the form, and everybody can rename in the Zoom link. Like I'm the speaker, I can rename as a speaker Gyanendra or DTM Nitya in the Zoom name.
Yeah, I think
Grammarian and our counter can share the PPT and as he make the notes so everybody can see.
yeah, these are some good points. I think using visual aids drive the point much stronger. So yeah, we can definitely look into this and naming ourselves with the conventions that Ghanindra mentioned. I think it would be easier for people to contact each other. Thank you, Ghanindra, for this feedback. I will be definitely applying it in our coming sessions.
Thank you. Over to you, TMOD.
Thank you. So now I think I have the votes for today's session. So I would like to request the audience to unmute yourselves and be very generous with your applause for the winners. First off, today's best role player award goes to our table topic master, Rahul. The best tag team player goes to the exemplary grammarian, Inbarajan. The best prepared speaker award goes to Toastmaster Ghanindra. Congratulations, Ghanindra. The best table topic speaker goes to distinguished Toastmaster Nitya. And it seems DTM Nitya has bagged another award for the best evaluator of today. Congratulations, DTM Nitya. Thanks a lot, everyone, for joining in today. I'm a person who uses social media as a break. Basically, I'm working here and I see WhatsApp, I go on WhatsApp, I go on Facebook, I go on LinkedIn. But I've always felt that these are not effective relaxation techniques because looking at these different, like looking at my work, looking at these different social media apps, it leads to so many context switches that it's just like increasing the heat in my brain. My brain is about to burst. But I think with the theme that Shama chose today, we were able to get many relaxation techniques such as meditation. I am going to see the video which Shama has posted, and I'm 100% sure that it's going to be very useful with the guarantee that Shama has given that if it does not work, we can all reach out to her. And also many other techniques such as Pomerado Zentangle. Am I pronouncing it right? Yeah, Zentangle, and maintaining a dream journal, maintaining I and me group. I think it has been a treasure trove of information for various relaxation techniques. I hope we can all implement it and we can all be calm. And if you implement it today, you can have a beautiful weekend from right now. So that's it. With the stroke of the virtual gavel, I'll be closing today's session. Thank you all for participating.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, everyone.